Hey everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Raid Shadow Legends, and I need to have a discussion about Inquisitor Shamael. Was I wrong? Is he actually viable for Nightmare and Brutal Hydra? Uh, is he better? Can he hang? Should I stop saying don't use him in higher levels? Well, we're gonna get to my kind of verdict on that, but I think I need to discuss a little bit first of what led me to this point of getting a 1-key Nightmare Hydra with Shamael in the team. So first off, I think I need to talk about Odd One Gaming. So me and Odd One, well, he had sat down and was about to do his key. He wanted to take Siffy out of his brutal key and put in Mighty Uko. But then he looked at Husk and he's like, the wrong affinity for helping be a second provoker for a backup provoker for sake of decay, right? And I was like, try Shamael, why not? If you can build some good damage on him, it's not going to be as good, but maybe. So he actually started playing around, and he did have Ugo in this team instead of Lydia. And he ended up with this. This was really smart of him. We didn't really need Ugo because Uko being boosted went very often. Plus, Lydia in here has block buffs on her A3, so she can go ahead and cover the basis for dealing with any block buffs that doesn't land from Uko. So that was just a really, really good pairing. Now, this team he does is so good. And I think you guys, I'm going to link this one below, and make sure you guys are following him and are subscribed on YouTube, because he's going to test the same team on Nightmare next time and see if he could do it on full auto or semi-auto with the same team, which is so great because honestly, guys, this is a bunch of fusion champions, a free-to-play champion in Lydia, plus one epic and one affinity epic in Geo, and one void epic in Inquisitor Shamael. So, of all things considered, it's a pretty friendly team as far as attainable goes. Especially if you're looking at Nightmare Hydra, guys. That's end game content, very end game content here. So this was just a really fun kind of, I want to say, collaboration of ideas with suggesting Shamael to just be like, you know what, why not try it? Hopefully the head of torments is up as often as possible. You know, he's like, it's kind of, that's where the RNG unfortunately does come into play, and which is why I don't like using people like Shamael. A lot of your results are going to be extremely varied based upon if he is in the team or not. But this was awesome, and it worked out really well for him. I think he did get lucky and had torment him, but I'm not gonna, I don't know, I didn't watch all of his video yet. But make sure you guys go watch this and check it out. He's gonna show his builds and show the run, and it is full auto. So that is crazy. This was brutal, not Nightmare. But that's kind of what reminded me of like, all right, you know what? I need to try something as well. I'm struggling because all of my people on my teams that like, okay, here's my Nightmare team. Magic, magic, magic. I was getting smacked by the Head of Wrath. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll try Shamael in Nightmare Hydra myself. Why not? Let's try it. And I had a really hard time here because first I just plugged in Shamael. And then it was still like, well, duh, she's still squishy, she's still the wrong affinity. Oh, wait, you don't want Duchess and Shamael on the same team, so now what? Let me try. I was trying semi-auto, that was my whole goal of all of this. And so instead I went back to my old Nightmare team, which is now my Brutal team. This one. But instead of Husk, I put in Shamael. And again, Siffy has block debuffs. You don't want block debuffs with Inquisitor Shamael. It kind of defeats the purpose of having him in the team. So he doesn't hit as often if people aren't getting debuffs attempted or placed on them. Or attempted to be placed on them at least yet, right? That's kind of his whole point. So this wasn't quite working. So I actually played around with this idea a little bit. I swapped some people around. I tried Godseeker, and this is one team here I started playing with Godseeker, but still using Lady Kimmy. And it just wasn't, nothing was working. And then I was like, oh, all right, fine. Let's go back to this Mother Sybil idea. And I think I had it for my team. I had, instead of Mighty Uko. I had Godseeker, and then I think I had Mother Sybil in the lead. And it just wasn't enough. It wasn't quite working. And I was like, I need a reviver that has increased speed as well, but no block debuffs. Oh, duh. Uko, the one that we literally just saw a very successful run from Odd One. And plus, I built them and booked them for a reason. So I finished building them. I used my gems to buy masteries because content, and here we are. So Uko pairs very well with Shamael to bring a reviver into the equation that doesn't have block debuffs. That's not as easy to find as you would think. I know there's like Ursula and Godseeker, but my strongest people for Nightmare I would want to be Siphi or Duchess, let's be honest. And I can't really use those here. I was thinking of using another Revive on Death with Cardiel, and he has such great healing that I might not need a proper reviver. And then I'm like, oh, never mind. Revive on Death. Or sorry. Block debuffs again. So that was an issue, and that was something I had to think about. So, this was difficult. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, his brutal key is amazing and it's full auto. Great. But I think you're gonna, when it comes to Nightmare, you're gonna rely on a lot of RNG for the sake of your damage. Overall, you really want the Head of Torment to be out for Inquisitor Shamael to get good damage. And as you can see, mine barely did more damage than my Mother Sybil because the Torment Head wasn't out the whole time. There was a lot of times it just wasn't out. This was very slow going. This was very meh for damage. I think in hindsight, if I did similar, if I put Lydia in here, I would have way more boosting and go way more often, and that could really help as well. Lydia is definitely a smart choice. Lydia and Shamael are a pairing that is amazing. But so is Mighty Uko here as well. That is just a really great pairing with Inquisitor Shamael. Keep that in mind. Like, this team here is great. Geomancer being the king of the damage here, actually. And Solus being my provoker. Now, you could sub in any other provoker, really, in this team, especially if you use Ugo and Uko, because then you're definitely going to keep up block buffs. If you use Lydia instead of Ugo, then you're going to have block buffs back up with Lydia anyway, right? So I think you can get away with it. A lot of other provokers like Scholar Vargal, Bivald, Coronar, maybe even Jizzo and Master Butcher at lower levels, probably not Nightmare, but yeah, this was fun, right? This was fun. I'm just very pleasantly surprised to say that Inquisitor Shamael did a Nightmare Hydra key for me. But I don't know if I already said this or not, but it took me like 3 hours of testing to get to this point. I think I kept missing something, and it was hard. I think in hindsight, I could get a little more damage out of him in Relentless or Savage Gear. I kind of wish I had Savage Gear on him. Right now he has a taunting set. I didn't change it because I had good stats on it, but I don't really need a taunting set for him when I have Uko in it as well. So that's one thing to think about too. But we're going to play the run, and then I'm going to show you guys quickly the builds for this team. This is an awesome Nightmare team, and I'm really happy to say, I was not wrong about Shamael. It's kind of difficult to get all the pieces together that are going to synergize well for him. So I would probably still stick to him in the early stages where you know you're going to see Torment often. But you can make it happen in Nightmare. It just takes stars aligning a little bit better.
But I never back down, man, I'd rather be dead. and I can take the pain. You wanna sink or swim? I'm gonna go down swinging. Look deep within. I get lost in the feeling. I just need a win. I'm gonna find my meaning. I can make a change. I wanna play the game. You wanna sink or swim? I'm gonna go down swinging. Look deep within. I get lost in the feeling. I just need a win. I'm going off. I know it's time to make a change, and I can take the pain. You wanna sink or swim? I'm gonna go down swinging. Look deep within. I get lost in the feeling. I just need a win. I'm gonna find my meaning. I can make a change. I wanna play the game, yeah. Gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah. Push and pull and repel any hate, go create what you want, feel compelled, yeah. And once you finally get a taste of the race, you'll never look back once you felt that. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first. About others way before myself, yeah. I guess that's why I feel like I go through hell, damn. Wasting time on your dreams instead of mine, yeah. About to turn this franchise around on a dime, man. It's all about finding your right state of mind. It's all about turning the worst into fine. It's all about time and the work and the climb. From the thirst we will rise, I'm immersed in this life. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first.
So for my team here, I had Mighty Uko. They're in a taunting set. They're the one being boosted by Shamael. They get to go so much more often thanks to Shamael's turn meter boost that he's supposed to give an individual that he's preventing a buff from, a debuff from, but instead he just gives it to the leader. It's super interesting. Actually, let's just go to that first. Let's talk about that real quick. This right here, he removes the fear or true fear. He's supposed to prevent that from happening, right? He does that. And then fill the ally's turn meter by 15%. He doesn't fill that one person's turn meter. He fills just the leader, which actually is quite fun for sake of Hydra, right? So I had Mighty Uko in my leader spot because they have an AoE A1, an AoE A2, and a revive, and an increased speed. Like, there's so much going on here that is just really helpful, plus a 20% speed in all battle aura, and that is just a great combination. So I did put Mighty Uko in War Master Masteries, especially with the AoE. That's just so helpful to get War Master procs on all the heads, and we did go Cycle of Magic as always. That's what that's called, right? Yes, I had to think about it for a second. Master Hexer and Sniper. Actually, I don't need Sniper for Mighty Uko. Well, the A1, I guess. But he is really, really great. I love this champion. I was able to get 250 speed on him, plus decent survivability, and barely enough accuracy, honestly. It's a little bit borderline, but it worked. I didn't have any trouble. And then we have, let's scroll down. Actually, let's scroll up. Let's scroll up to my Solus. He is my main provoker in a reflex set to have a chance to go back to that A2 and A3 more often. He is so great. I have him built with solid defense, 100% crit rate, low crit damage. That could definitely be better, but enough accuracy to land everything, and enough resistance to resist some of those debuffs when a decreased accuracy debuff is placed. Yeah, he's all about this debuff extension, and then the buff removal is really, really nice when things get messy. Masteries for him are with War Master as well. Of course, as expected, War Master Masteries. Then right under him we have Mother Sybil. She is in War Master Mastery as well. And then same thing. These are kind of my typical Hydra Masteries for most people. Very, very similar. She is so great with her decreased speed on her A1. And then she also has this increased defense and revive on death, which is really helpful when the Head of Wrath is around. And her passive heals the lowest ally when she dies, and heals all allies and fills turn meter when she's revived. So if she dies and comes back a lot, it's actually not that bad. I have her in a Guardian set to help keep everyone else alive and have some more damage mitigation on the team. And she is built with solid accuracy as well. 255 speed, almost 100% crit rate, and a decent survivability, but not great. But it's okay, like I said. Her dying sometimes can actually help you out. So then we're going to come down to Geomancer. I have him with a Cruelty Blessing as well. I forgot to mention, I do have Mother Sybil in... Mother Sybil and Solus are actually both in Brimstone for that Smite debuff. Woo, I went too far. And we have Geomancer in Relentless gear. I would love some refresh accessories, but I don't have any. 250 speed, and yeah, this is the same Geomancer I use for the Iron Twins, honestly. And I do have him in Cruelty. We love him for his passive, of course, and the HP burn that goes along with it is really, really helpful. AoE A1 is also, of course, great. So again, with a War Master Mastery, Cycle of Magic, and pretty much the same masteries I have on everybody. And then we have Mighty, or regular Ugo. Where is Ugo? That is not the right Ugo. Ugo number 1. Ugo number 1 with just slightly different masteries, but still very similar for my Hydra masteries. She's so great with her cleanse, heal, decreased defense, and block buffs, and then a leech on her A1. I have her in reflex gear as well. Refresh accessories if you have them. Relentless gear is great as well. And again, great survivability, solid defense on her. Honestly, I forgot. This is the Ugo I did not boost my HP on. I need to do that. Ugo should have really good HP if they're your main healer. You need her to be able to heal everyone, and it's based on her max HP, so you really need to have higher HP. So I need to get rid of some defense and add some HP, and maybe my run will be a little bit smoother. I think it was okay in the end, though. I'm probably going to try to use the same team again, but it is a little bit slow, and I'm hoping I can eventually find a semi-auto team. I just don't know if I could do that on Nightmare with Shamael, but we'll see. We'll see. And then last but not least, Inquisitor Shamael, right? I did have him in Taunting gear because I had him here before I put Uko into the team in Taunting gear, and I actually had solid... Oh, shit. I didn't have 100% crit rate. I changed out one piece of gear and forgot to fix the crit rate. I was going to say I had him in such good crit damage that I didn't even care. It's fine. I'll fix it next time. That's probably a big part of the damage issue, but I might put him in Relentless or Savage or Lethal or something else to give him extra damage, or at least be able to go more often if I can get some solid crit damage on him and 100% crit rate. Oh my god. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. But Shamael is all about this A1 and A2, dealing with debuffs, counterattacking. He's just so good. I do have him in a War Master Mastery, but in hindsight, I think I might be better, in Giant Slayer Mastery. But in hindsight, I think he might be better in War Master. Just, I want to note that I think he might be better in War Master, because the more I watched him, the more more often he's just hitting once and that's it. So I think you're just better off on that counterattack to have War Master. There's very few times he was actually hitting 3 or 4 times, you know, very few, compared to how often he was hitting once. So I think that's something I'm going to have to change in the future and see if it helps damage. But we did it, guys. A 1-key Nightmare with Shamael. Was I wrong? Is he viable for Nightmare and Brutal? If you got the right people, yes, absolutely. If you can get the synergies just right, yes. But I think you're going to have a hard time finding that perfect synergy like Oddwin luckily did for his Brutal key. But I think mine is okay, but it could be better. As noted, I might have to put Lydia in there myself instead of Ugo. But we'll see. I don't know. It's definitely something I got to think about and see if I want to change the team in the future or keep using it. But I'm probably going to go back to my standard team without Shamael for sake of Nightmare. But it was fun to get him involved. And I'm still I think I'm overall going to suggest he's best on lower levels still. But he can work, right? He can work. We did it, guys. We did it. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.